First, we're going to start off with frozen tomatoes. I go out and I harvest all the ones that are ripe and bring them in and freeze them so that I can do them all at the same time with everything else that comes out of the garden. So we're going to take and dump a couple of these frozen ones in the strainer, or whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to take those and dip them for about 5 or 6 seconds. Maybe 8. Alright. Now these are frozen cherry tomatoes and yellow pear tomatoes. So these canned tomatoes are going to be a mixture of a little bit of everything. Some cherry tomatoes, yellow pear tomatoes, beefsteak, and early growth tomatoes. And see, once you dip them in the hot water, the peel comes off real easy. Now if you don't have frozen ones and you're just doing them fresh out of the garden, you're going to take and dip them in hot water or boiling water for about 30 to 60 seconds, and that will help you peel them just like I'm doing now. Now for the fresher tomatoes, take and give them, oh wow, there, give them a little X in the bottom, and then you put them in the boiling pot for about 30 to 60 seconds. So take and throw them in for about 30 seconds. Okay, that was more like a minute, 60 seconds roughly. See, ow, and they're hot, very hot. And you want to core them. You don't want the core. Also, if you're going to freeze tomatoes, you want to core them before you freeze them. It makes things a lot easier. Oh no. Now I get them all in here into a pot on low heat, just all to warm them up and render them down a bit. And I just use a potato masher to mash them up. I'll be adding some onion, garlic, some red pepper, sweet pepper that came out of the garden, a couple red pepper flakes, there, everything's cut up small, right, mister? Okay, so a recap. I froze a bunch of tomatoes, and then when I was ready to use them, I took them out and I dipped them in hot water for about 5 seconds, and that peeled the skins right off. Then I threw them in the pot to stew them and break them down and thicken it up a bit. It's been in there for almost 3 hours, just on a simmer. The fresh tomatoes, I scored the bottom of them, I cored them, and then I dipped them in hot water for about 30 to 60 seconds and then peeled the skin off them, and I threw them in here with the frozen ones. So I have my jars in the dishwasher sterilizing. I washed my lids and now they're ready to be sterilized or kept warm in hot water. And now I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients to the sauce because it's getting pretty thick. Go with about half the onions. in each. Half the garlic. Roughly. And half the peppers. And then of course half the mushrooms. Let that cook down. This one. Okay, now it's time for some of the spices. First will be some basil, some cloves, whole cloves. I'm just gonna throw 2 in there, 1 in that one. Some whole rosemary. You don't want to overdo it with the rosemary. It's pretty strong. Some paprika, really just a pinch of paprika in each one. Some cayenne pepper. I already have some crushed red pepper flakes in there, so I'm gonna be a little bit conservative with the cayenne pepper. Some parsley flakes, some oregano, and just a little bit of thyme. Take and just give it a little pinch, because just like rosemary, it's overpowering if you use a little bit too much. Stir all that in, get it stirred in nicely. So I moved that one over here. They've been simmering. I added a little bit of olive oil. This one's been simmering, well, they have been simmering for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours now. If you want, you can add some tomato paste to thicken it up a bit, but if you simmer it long enough, you can actually get it to your desired thickness. I got the water bath canner, heating up, and I got lids in the back there heating up. So now I'm just waiting for this thing, old school, to finish up. It might be done now. I got my jars in there, and well, then it will be time to jar it and put it in the water bath canner. So now that my jars are clean, I have 2, 4, 6, 8 of them sitting out here, because that's all that's going to fit in the canner for now. I got them sitting upright. They've been cleaned, dried, sterilized, and I got a towel sitting over them so that nothing falls in, no dust or anything falls in them. Cleanliness is key. If you want your jars to last a long time, you can't let any bacteria get in there. No yeast, bacteria, anything, so keep them clean. Okay, so the water bath canner is just about at a rolling boil. Oh, well, it is at a rolling boil, but it's not quite ready yet. It's very close. So I'm gonna start filling up my jars. Let's see how messy this gets. These jars have been sterilized, so I'm not worried about it. And I will be wiping this rim with some vinegar just to make sure it's completely clean. Figured I would try a different method just to see if it's any less messy. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Start wiping the lids down, or the rims, I mean. Make sure that there's no debris on top of them, or else your lids won't seal. Using a clean cloth preferably with vinegar, but you can use it with water. Ouch, that's hot. Tomatoes are actually very acidic on their own, but just as a safety precaution, it's always good to throw some lemon juice or citric acid in each jar. And because it was so messy, I'm just going to go over the rims one more time. Supposed to leave about 1/2 inch head space, but it'll shrink down a little bit when you cook it or when you water bath it. So I kind of filled these jars up a little bit too much. My lids, ouch, nice and hot. Just want them on there finger tight. Take this, set it there. 2, 4, and 6. I thought there was going to be a little bit more than that, but apparently not. Don't let any of your jars touch. And what do we got here? Sure, just like that. Alright. Now, set them in. Bring it to a rolling boil, and once rolling boil starts, I think I'm at 800 feet above sea level or something like that, so it should be about 35 minutes. These aren't quarts or pints, so they're somewhere in between, so I'm gonna do them for about 36 or 7 minutes. Okay, now let's see, we can see that it is at a rolling boil. Okay, we'll start the timer for 37 minutes. All right, there we go. It's important that this level doesn't get below the can lids, so check it periodically every once in a while, and if it does get too low, well, can't talk. If it does get too low, throw some boiling water in it and keep it above those lids, at least an inch. Some say 2, but at least an inch. Okay, that's done. Turn that off. I guess we'll pull the lid off of this here too. Okay, now it's cooling down. Let's see if I can. One of them fell over. That's why it's good to fill your canner up completely so they don't fall over, but it happens. See if I can. Lift that. Whew. Ouch. So I'm going to try and take them and move them over here so that they can slowly cool down. I'll cover them with this towel. Ouch. Oh yeah, that's right. Even out your rack so that they're not falling over. Well, that was horrible. That's a beginner's mistake. But hopefully you'll learn from my mistakes. Okay. The last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we will cover them and let them cool slowly, and within the next hour or so we'll hear them start to pop and seal themselves. And that's it. That's how I do my tomato sauce. God bless. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.